Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Tracey Jones. Have you ever said to yourself, why wasn't I selected? Self-awareness and learning to deal with life setback is a critical part of leadership and followership. So you're going to want to listen into our sixth function of followership, which is titled Flexible Planning.
You're listening to Tremendous Leadership with Dr. Tracey Jones.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Tracey Jones. Thanks for joining us in our Functions of Followership series of podcasts where I take one chapter from my father's best-selling book, Life is Tremendous, The 7 Laws of Leadership, and I overlay one of the 7 functions of followership from my book titled A Message to Millennials because, as you know, leadership and followership are the two sides of the same coin. So today we are going to talk about what my father referred to as the law of flexible planning. And one of my favorite speeches of all time that my father gave was called The Key to Excellence. And in it, he has this incredible line. You can check it out on YouTube. Go over to our sister channel, Tremendous Life Books, and it's titled Nothing Works. And my dad talks about all the greatest thing he's learned in 30 years of running a business, an organization, and building a multi-million-dollar organization is, and he yells out, nothing works. And everybody just busts out laughing. And I can remember I would grow up and I'd be like, Dad, oh my gosh, this happened or that happened. And he's like, I know, nothing works. And so it's kind of funny because it was really a great way to look at life, because when I would put my effort and plan and do everything I can, and it didn't work out, it was okay, because I just think about and laugh and think about my dad saying nothing works. But my dad's point was nothing works, ... until you work it. And that's such an important piece. So the law of flexible planning is, plans are great, but plans often go wrong. Either we miss something or something completely out of the blue happens. So you have to be flexible in your planning. In the military, we called these contingency plans. So we would lay out where we wanted to go, but we would know the odds of it going just as we planned were pretty much not going to happen. So the key is whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And you say, Tracey, that doesn't sound very positive. Actually, it is, because when you think about it, the odds are the majority of things you plan for, they are going to go right, okay? And my father would always say that the people that had the hardest time with life were the ones that were just flipped out when something went wrong. And he's like, look, plan on something going wrong. And you say, well, what about, Tracey, what if it goes right? And he's like, my father would say, that's okay. We can work in it if it goes right too. So it was really kind of this very pragmatic, it was cautious optimism. And yes, you want to be self-assured about the future, but guys, there's so many unknowns out there, and all we can do is the best we can do. And flexible planning means that even though I laid out a plan, if something goes wrong, then I can do another plan and I can be flexible, and I don't have to flip out or fold. I can be flexible. I can be adaptive in my capacity to respond to this. And like I said, my father said that a lot of people are miserable because they expect everything to go right. And if it does go right, that's okay. We can work that in too. And my father always told me, Tracey, the reason things go wrong is to make you more right. And things don't happen the way they're supposed to because it builds this intrinsic resiliency and this adaptive capacity. We talked about that in the 5th function of followership, which is exposure to experience. So you want to stay flexible, okay? You want to stay focused on the end goal, but you want to always build in these contingency plans. And any plan that you lay out today, tomorrow you need to revisit it and look at it and see if there's things that you need to slightly tweak, modify, maybe do a workaround, or enter in some more data that you didn't know happened before. So my father would also say, we can't determine when and where we're going to get kicked, but we can decide which way we're going to go when it happens. And so it's a beautiful thing with the law of flexible planning. Whenever something happens to me and it doesn't go the way I planned, I'm like, all right. First of all, I laugh because I think of my dad saying, nothing works. And then I'm like, that's right, Tracey. So this didn't work, but now you got to work it. Okay. Because there is a solution in there. You just have to figure out how it's going to work. And my father also said that the point of life isn't happiness, it's growth. And we should be focused on not more knowing, but more growing. And one of the things in Life is Tremendous my father talks about was a consultant by the name of Ivy Lee, who found Charles Schwab early on in his career and said, listen, I can make you just really increase your productivity if you just follow this one thing. And one of the things that Ivy League told Charles Schwab to do was, at the end of the day, when you think about tomorrow, make a list of the most important things that you have to do. Put the first one first, the second one second, the third one third, okay? When tomorrow starts, you pull that list out, and what do? You do that first one, and you work down the list. And Charles Schwab said that this was the main idea that made him wealthier than anything else that he had ever done before. And what this does is, every day, I have my plan of what I want to get done tomorrow. But then tomorrow happens, and maybe I get some things done on my list. Maybe I don't. Maybe something else comes in or bumps or reshuffles what the priority is. But that's okay, because at the end of the day, I regroup at the end of the night. I cross off what was done. I reprioritize if needed. I put in, take off, say, oh, what? We're not doing this anymore. And then I relook at it and get ready for the next day. So this makes your productivity completely fluid and flexible and adaptive and regenerative, which is the name of leadership and followership. So followers, if you want to really show your leader that you are capable of moving into the leadership role, you are going to show them that when something goes wrong, you are going to be able to catch that curveball, bring it in, and still bring it across the home plate. And that is so important, because I watch a lot of leaders that followers are okay, but if something goes wrong, they like freeze. And it's like, but guys, you have to be able to be flexible and rewrite or revise or readopt a new plan to keep us on track, but to plan for this contingency plan. And I think a lot of people saw this with this pandemic crisis. They just stopped dead in their track. And it's like, guys, but this could happen. I mean, this is not the first pandemic that you've been through, and it won't be the last. It's not the first crisis you've been through. And that's why it's so important. I love to argue against my future self. And what that is I plan for the worst case scenario. So anything that I see that I'm planning on doing, I sit there, and I do this in board meetings too, and I say, okay, I know this looks good. I know there's an upside. I looked at the downside, but what if a year from now or 5 years from now, I look at myself and say, that was the worst possible decision I could have made. Okay. How can I look at this and plan for this in the here and now? And it just means that even after I make a decision, I watch that decision. I don't just sit back and say, well, I made the decision, it's sunken costs. I always look back at that decision and go, do I need to tweak that decision? Do I need to be flexible in my planning? Do I need to readjust something? And arguing against your future self is, imagine your worst case scenario. Okay. If you can live with your worst case scenario, you go ahead with that plan and you start it in motion. Again, at the end of the day, you check off your list of what got done and you have your new list of things that need to get done. So that is really what the law of flexible planning is. And the law of flexible planning means that you can capitalize on things going wrong, because it will in the end make you more right. And my father used to say, when people would call him and say, Charlie, will you pray for me? Things are going wrong. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray your problems get worse. And they're like, what? And he's like, why would I pray you out of something that you're going through, which is put in your life by God to break you down, to build you up? And so my father used to say that he was the only person in the world that would get letters and calls from people saying, Charlie, please stop praying for me. I've had all that I can take. But when you approach planning like this and things that go wrong with this attitude of, you know what, it's going wrong to make it more right, then you can have this peace and this openness, and you don't lose it when things don't go exactly as planned. So I love this. Somebody said this to me. We're like glow sticks, okay? When we get broken is when this intrinsic resiliency and brilliance shines out, just like a diamond. Everybody wants to be a diamond, but nobody wants to get cut. You got to get forged in the fires. You got to get in the heat, and you got to get honed in order to make your plans work out the right way. And so all we can do is the best we can do, but every day yields new data, new connection, new bits of information, a brand new day, a new light. Maybe you got a good night's sleep and you see things in a new way. Go back and look at it and adjust and be flexible. All right. So this law of flexible planning makes sure that you just don't seek to become rich, but you seek also to really enrich. And it also allows you, the law of flexible planning, it allows you to look at anything that happens in your life and say, what good can come out of this bad? And that is one of the most important lessons in life. And leaders, We love followers that when stuff goes wrong, they step up and say, you know what, that's bad, but I'm going to show you where we can turn this into an opportunity. This obstacle becomes an opportunity. This chaos and confusion becomes clarity. All right. That is what leaders are looking for in their followers and how we choose the next generation of followers. And so this law of flexible planning, be sure and check out my father on YouTube talking about it. Nothing works. And remember, nothing does work unless you work it. And this sixth function of followership, I hope it helps you as followers realize, hey, if stuff doesn't go right, so what? Welcome to leadership. You guys are going to get in the leadership chair. You think stuff doesn't go right now? You ain't seen nothing yet, okay? And the more you learn to be adaptive and catch these fly balls or these curveballs and go, you know what? Slight change in plans, but we're going to get right back up. We're going to suit up. And we're going to get right back in the game. The more valuable you're going to be to your organization. So I hope you enjoyed the sixth function of followership. And if you we'd love to hear you. If you leave us a comment, we'll answer. And please leave us a rating wherever you listen to us. Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube. Be sure and go over to tremendousleadership.com and sign up for our e-blast. You can also sign up for all our free webinars, podcast, and free ebooks, which will really help you learn a lot of great new things. And then also you want to make sure and reach out, send us an email if you'd love to work with me one-on-one or learn more about this for your team. Also be sure and check out Tremendous Leadership, where you can order copies of Life is Tremendous, or you can order copies of A Message to Millennial. And I really hope that you enjoyed this sixth function of followership, which is the law of flexible planning. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you for listening to Tremendous Leadership with Dr. Tracey Jones. Find out more about Dr. Jones at www.tremendousleadership.com. If you've been ignited by something you heard in this episode, let us know by leaving a review for Tremendous Leadership wherever you listen to podcasts, or by sending us a message through www.tremendousleadership.com.